Hi there. Today I'm going to look at the Further Maths Level 2 certificate from AQA, practice paper set to paper 2. So this is our calculator paper. Right, question 1. We've got P marked on a grid and we're asked to work out the equation of the line that passes through the origin and P. So I want the equation of the line that goes through there and there. Well, let's have a look. What's the gradient of the line? For every 6 boxes I go across, I go up to, so that means the gradient is 1/3. The gradient is 1/3, and the y-intercept is 0, so therefore the equation of the line must be y equals 1/3 x. Work out the distance OP, so I want to work out this distance here, and I'm going to use Pythagoras Theorem to get this. If we have a look there, we have a right angle triangle. That's 6, that's 2, so using Pythagoras I'm going to square both numbers, add them together, and then take the square root. So OP squared equals 6 squared plus 2 squared. That's 36, that's 4, so it's 40. So OP is going to be the square root of 40. So plug that into your calculator, take the square root of 40, and we get 6.324555. 2 sig fig, so 6.3 will do. Okay, on we go. Write as a single power of m. So just using the laws of indices here, I'm going to multiply the powers. So we get m to the power of 10 for this one. Here, because we're dividing, we normally subtract the powers, and 12 take away -4 gives me 16. So I'm doing 12 take away -4, which is 16. Here again we add the powers. A half plus 3/2 is 4/2, so that's m to the power 2. This one's slightly trickier. The square root of this quotient here is just the same as taking the square root of the top and the square root of the bottom separately. That's from surds, and the square root of 1 is 1. And here the square root is actually the same as multiplying by to the power of a half. So we have actually m to the power 6 all to the power of a half. So we get 1/m, and 6 times by a half is 3. So 1/m to the 3, and again using the negative law of indices we get m to the power -3. Okay, we're asked to work out the area of the triangle OAB. Okay, let's first of all think about this for a second. Area of a triangle, normally we're going to use either a half the base by the height, or you're going to use a half AB sine C. Now there's no sign of an angle here, so I'm going to look to use this formula here. So I need to know the length of the base, I need to know the length of the height. So because this is the origin, if I work out where x is equal to 0, where y is equal to 0, that will tell me what this coordinate is here. So if I let y equal 0, for this we get 5x equals 20. That means x would be equal to 4. So when y is 0, x is 4. So that is the point for 0. And when x is 0, so let's let x equal 0. So x is 0, we get -2y equals 20. That means y is equal to -10. So this point is the point 0, -10. Now what has that told me? It's told me that the base is 4. It's 4 units across because it goes from 0 up to 4. And the height, although we're looking down, is 10 units in length, so the height would be 10. So I'm going to use this formula. I'm going to do a half multiplied by 4, multiplied by 10. Half times 4 is 2, 2 times 10 is 20, so the area of our triangle is 20. Okay, moving on. I'm asked to solve this equation here. I don't like to have these fractions, so I'm going to eliminate them by finding the common denominator. Common denominator in this case is 15. So I'm going to multiply absolutely everything by 15. So it's going to be 15 multiplied by x minus 4 over 3 plus 15 times by x over 5. And what we do to one side, we must do to the other. So it's 15 times by 2. Okay, how can we tidy this up now? Well, 3 cancels with 15 5 times. 5 cancels with 15 3 times. And 15 times 2 is 30. So we end up with 5 times x minus 4 plus 3x equals 30. Expand this bracket out now. 5x minus 20 plus 3x equals 30. So we get 8x equals 50. So x is going to be equal to 50 divided by 8, which is 6.25. And that's the equation solved. Check your answer if you like by substituting in. Okay, functions question. So we're given a function f of x. It's defined as x squared minus 4 between 0 and 3, and as 14 minus 3x between 3 and 5. So I've got to work out the value of f of 1. Well, 1 is in this domain here, so I'm going to use this part of the function. So we do 1 squared minus 4. 1 squared is 1. 1 take away 4 gives us negative 3. The value of f of 4. 4 is in this domain, so I'm going to use this function here. So substituting 4 in, we get 14 minus 3 times 4. 3 times 4 is 12. 14 take away 12 is 2. Solve f of x equal to 0. Now 0 is this domain here, so I'm going to solve this part. So I'm going to use x squared minus 4 equals 0. That means x must be equal to, x squared equals 4, which means x equals 2. Now you might think, oh, is it not plus or minus 2? No, it's not going to be plus or minus 2 in this case because the function is not defined at minus 2, so we're not interested in that. Work out the range of f of x. This one's slightly trickier. What I did was I substituted 0 in, and when I substitute 0 in, I get minus 4. And when I substitute 5 in, so substituting 5 in, we get negative 1. Negative 1. So the function is going to find the range of f of x. The best way to do this, I think, is to draw yourself a little sketch of what's going on. So I'm going to do a little sketch of this function to help me work out what the range is. Now we've already worked out, have we worked out f of 0? We haven't, so let's work out f of 0 really quickly. When x is 0, we'd have 0 minus 4. F of x is going to be negative 4. So it'll come down a little bit like this. So when x is 0, f of x is negative 4. So we've got a place there. When x is 1, we get negative 3. That's going to go there. When x is 2, we get 0. So 2 squared is 4. 4 take away 4 is 0. When x is 3, we get 9 take away. We actually have to use this one here, don't we? When x is 3, we get 14 take away 9, which is 5. So when x is 3, y is 5, or f of x is 5, should I say. When f of 4 we've worked out is 2. So that's going to be around there. And f of 5 will be negative 1. So we end up with something like this. Right, so that means the function seems to have a range. The lowest point was -4, and the highest part was here, and that was when f of x was 5, if I remember correctly. F of x was 5. I think that was when we had, yes, when x was 3. 14 take away 9 gives us 5, so yeah. So the function is defined between -4 and 5. So that's the range of the function. On we go. And we have the sketch of y equals 10 plus 3x minus x squared. So it's a n-shaped graph, a parabola that looks like that. And we're asked to write down the two solutions. Now, because we can see clearly where it cuts the x-axis, we can get our solutions exceptionally quickly. The solutions would be x equals -2 and x equals 5. And x equals 5. The equation of the line of symmetry, well, the way I did this was I looked at the distance between there and there, which is 7 units. Now, because it's a parabola, like so, it has a line of symmetry, like this, and it's going to be symmetric halfway between that 7, so that's going to be 3.5 units. So if that was -2, let's go 3.5 units up. We get -1, 0, 1, 1.5. So at the line where x equals 1.5, we have a line of symmetry. Write down the solution to this equation greater than or equal to 0. So again, let's go back to our graph, and we can see, where is the graph bigger than 0? Well, it seems to be bigger than 0 when -2 is less than or equal to x. So when our x value is bigger than -2 and less than 5, less than or equal to 5. So the graph is positive all the way in here, and that's when we're bigger than, x is greater than or equal to -2, and x is less than or equal to 5. Moving on, question 7. We're given the area of a triangle and we're asked to work out the size of this obtuse angle here. Now, we've got two sides, we've got an angle in between. Straight away I'm thinking half AB sine C. In this case it will be C will be P. So I'm using the trigonometry formula for finding the area of a triangle. So a half times by 18 times by 10 by the sine of P should be equal to the area, 27. Half times 18 is 9, 9 times 10 is 90, so we get 90 sine P equals 27. That means sine P equals 27 divided by 90, which is 3 over 10. So P is going to be the inverse sine of 3 over 10. When we do that, let's take the inverse sine of 3 over 10. We get 17.46. Now, we were asked for an obtuse angle, so 17.46 is obviously not obtuse, but if you think about the sine graph, which, let me show you actually using autograph. Let's show you using autograph, it's better. And let's bring up y equals sine x, and there we have it there. So you can see that's y equals sine x, and it's actually symmetric here like this. So if I got a value of 17.45, which would be somewhere in there, well, we also have one there. So if I take 17.45 away from 180, we'll get our solution. So I'm going to do 180 take away 17.46. So 180 take away 17.46 gives us, try that again, 180 take away 17.46 gives us 162.54. So 162.54 degrees. Let's keep going. PQR is a straight line. P is this point here, or is this point, and it tells me the ratio of the distance from PQ to QR is 3 to 4, and we're asked to work out the coordinates. Now before you dive in and start working this out, the best thing you can do is draw yourself a little diagram. So I did a little diagram like this. That will be the point P, which will be minus 5 on the X but 11 on the Y. Or it's going to be somewhere over here, which will be 16 on the X and negative 3 on the Y. And we have some point Q in between, such that the ratio, let's call that Q, this distance would be 3 parts and this distance would be 4 parts, so something like that. Now first thing I did was work out, well, to get from P to R, how many units along the x-axis will I have to go? I'm going to have to go from negative 5 up to 16, which is 21 units. So I need to know how many units I would go to actually get to Q, which would be 3/7 of that distance, because 3 plus 4 is 7, which would be 7 parts. But I only want to go 3 parts along. I don't want to go the full 7. So I'm going to find 3/7 of 21, which gives me 9. So I'm actually going to go 9 units along in this direction. And negative 5 plus 9 gives me 4. So negative 5 plus 9 is 4, so I know the x coordinate is 4. I'm going to do a similar thing using the y. So let's switch to red for working out the y coordinate. Let's try that again. So I'm interested in how many units do I have to go down to get to R. I'm going from 11 to negative 3, which is a total of 14 units. I'm going 14 units down, but I don't want to go the full 14 units down. I'm only interested in going 3/7 of 14. So I'm going to find 3/7 of 14. 1/7 is 2. 3/7 is going to be 6. So I'm actually going to go 6 units down. So I'm going to take 6 away from the 11. 11 take away 6 is 5. Okay, Sue is walking due north from A to C, and it tells us that the bridge between B and C is closed and she has to take this route instead, and we're interested in how much further she has to walk. So I'm interested in knowing what's the difference between walking this way and this way along the bridge. And now I see 2 sides, an angle in between, and I'm looking for an opposite side, so I'm thinking straight away the cosine rule. So if I label the bridge small a, that can be big A, this will be B and C. So, and the sine rule, or cosine rule, says that a squared equals b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cosine of a. So a squared is going to be equal to, doesn't matter which one, b squared is 72, so 72 squared plus 85 squared minus 2 times 72 times 85 times the cosine of 40. Let's do this little bit first. 72 squared plus 85 squared is 12,409. Let's just tidy that up a little bit. 12,409. 12409. And I'm going to take away 2 times 72 times 85 times cos of 40, which is 9,376. So I just rounded that to the nearest unit. Let's find the difference. 12409, take away 9376 gives us 3033. So this is all a squared, a squared. That means a is going to be the square root of 3033. So take the square root of that and we get 55. So that's 55. So a is approximately 55. That's 72 and that's 85. Let's find the difference. So I'm going to do 72 plus 85, take away 55. 72 plus 85, take away 55, gives us 102. And there's your 4 marks. Alright, simplify fully. We got an expression on top and the bottom. Generally when we want to simplify and we see something like this, you're looking at factorizing. So on the top line I'm going to factor out the x. So factor out x and we get 9x squared minus 16. On the bottom I'm going to factor out 2. So we get 2 into 3x plus 4. Now looking at this is the difference of 2 squares, so I can factorize this even further. So we get x, the x is still there, times by 3x minus 4 times by 3x plus 4 over 2 times 3x plus 4. And if you look, we can see top and bottom have 3x plus 4 common to both. So the answer is x times 3x minus 4 over 2. You do not need to expand this out again. Waste time. You get your full marks for what I have written here. Do watch out for the difference of 2 squares. Sequences question. Right, we've got to show that these two sequences have the same first term. Well, the first term of any sequence, n, is going to be equal to 1. So I'm going to substitute n. I'm going to basically let n equal 1 for both sequences. So we get a times, I don't like doing it like that, let's do it another way. It's going to be 1 times by a plus b, and then underneath we get 1 times by b plus a. 1 times a plus b is a plus b. 1 times b plus a is b plus a. And a plus b is the same as b plus a. 11b, show that it says the second term of sequence x is equal to the third term of sequence y. Well, let's work out the second term of sequence x. So the second term, n, is 2. So we get 2 times by a plus b should be equal to the third term of sequence y. So that will be 3 times by b plus a. And now if I take a off both sides, I get a plus b equals 3b. And now I'm going to take b off both sides. We get, let's just bring it up here, we get a equals 2b. Okay, next one, it says prove that the nth term of sequence x divided by the nth term of sequence y is this expression here. And I'm going to use this little fact here to help me solve this problem. So sequence x is an plus b, and sequence y is bn plus a. Now I know that a is equal to 2b, so instead of a I'm going to replace it with 2b. So let's just bring it over here to some space. So instead of a I'm putting in 2b. So I'm using this here. So we get 2b times by n plus b over bn plus 2b. Factor b out of both expressions. We get b into 2n plus 1. Factor b out here. We get b into n plus 2. Cancelling b's above and below, we get 2n plus 1 over n plus 2, which is exactly what we were asked for. So I cancel these two b's out, divide top and bottom by b. Alright, question 12. Right, we've got a curve here and we're asked to show that the curve passes through this point. If it does indeed pass through this point, that means I can let the value of x be 1 and the value of y be 0, and it should balance out. So let's do that. We will get 0 should equal 1 cubed is 1 minus 9 times 1 squared is 9 plus 24 times 1 is 24, and then take away that 16 at the end. 0, let's just check, 1 take away 9 is -8, -8 plus 24 is 16, 16 take away 16 is in fact 0, so there's your mark. State the coordinates of the point where the curve intersects the y-axis. Now this curve will intersect the y-axis. Let's just have a picture of that, so we got some sort of curve. It's going to intersect the y-axis, and where it intersects the y-axis, x is 0. So that means x will be equal to 0. So I let x equal 0 in this. So we get y will equal 0 minus 0 plus 0, take away 16. So when x is 0, y is -16. And that's the coordinates of the points. Work out dy dx, so differentiate. So we take the power down in front, multiply by the coefficient of x, and then drop your power by 1. So we'll get 3x squared minus 18x plus 24. So 3x squared minus 18x plus 24. Handy 2 marks. Let's just write that down again. 3x squared minus 18x plus 24. We're going to need that to find the stationary points. So that's the y dx. Now the stationary points are points where the curve is not going up or down. So you have a curve something like that, your stationary points are always found here and here. It's where the gradient of the tangent to the curve is absolutely 0. And when we find dy dx, that's the gradient function. If I let that equal 0, that will tell me where it happens. So I'm going to let dy dx be equal to 0. So that gives us 3x squared minus 18x plus 24 should be equal to 0. I'm going to factorize this. First of all, everything's a multiple of 3, so I'm going to divide everything by 3. We get x squared minus 6x plus 8 equals 0. Right, x and x in our brackets. And I want factors of 8 that add to give us -6. So -4, -2. So that means x equals 4 or x equals 2. Now, if x equals 4, what's y going to be? We have to go back to our original function, which is this. So x cubed minus 9x squared plus 24x plus 16. So let's write that down here. X cubed minus 9x squared plus 24x minus 16 plus 24x minus 16. So that was our function, y equals. So I have a value for x. If I substitute it in here, that will tell me the corresponding y value. So let's put 4 in. I'm going to use my calculator for this. So I'm subbing x equal to 4 in here. So we get 4 cubed minus 9 times 4 squared plus 24 times 4 and take away 16, and we get 0. So when x is 4, y is 0. Let's do the exact same with 2. 2 squared, or 2 cubed is 8. 2 squared is 4. 4 times 9 is 36. Plus 24 times 2 is 48. Take away 16. So 8 and 48 is 56. 36, 16 gives us 52. So we get 4. So 4, or 0 and 4 should I say. 2 and 4, I beg your pardon, because x was 2 and we got a y value of 4. Let's just double check that there. I don't want to be giving you any incorrect answers. Plus 48, take away 16. Yep, 4. We're good to go. And then finally we're asked to sketch the curve. Right, we know the minimum and we know the maximum. The maximum is 2, 4. So let's go 2 and 4 will be around about here. So that's 2, 4. And the minimum is 4, 0. So 4 on the x, 0 on the y. Should be around about here. 4, 0. And what else do we know? When, let's see, the curve passes through the point 1, 0. 1, 0 will be around about here. So that's 1, 0. Anything else we know? Alright, where it intersects the y-axis at 0, negative 16. 0, negative 16. So 0 on the x, negative 16 here. 0, negative 16. Alright, that was the maximum, that was the minimum. So we can sketch our curve. It's going to come up through here. Again, that's the maximum, so pass through that. Down here, that's our minimum, and then away off up in this direction. And there's your curve. And let's just use autograph to see if we were correct. So, new page, and we want x cubed minus 9x squared plus 24x take away 16 equals, oh, I need to put y equals, so y equals, and there we have it. Not too shabby. So yeah, that's what our little sketch looked like. Let's bring it up. As you can see, our sketch is not too bad. Forgive my shaky curve. Okay, we've got a couple of cylinders here with dimensions x and y, and we're told that the total surface area of A is the same as the total surface area of B, and we're given this to show. So let's just work out the total surface area of A. Well, the total surface area is going to be the bottom circle, which the area of that will be given as pi times radius squared, so pi times x squared. The top circle is the same, so that's pi times x squared. And the curved surface area is pi times by the diameter times by the height. Now the diameter is 2x, so that means it's going to be 2 pi x squared. Pi x squared plus pi x squared plus 2 pi x squared gives us a grand total of 4 pi x squared. Let's do a similar thing with the second cylinder. So these circles, the top and the bottom, the area of those is going to be pi times y squared. So, and we've got two of them, so pi times y squared plus pi times y squared. And this height is going to be given as, let's just write it down here, it's pi times d normally. Pi times d is the diameter. The diameter in this case is 2y, so it'll be pi 2 pi y. So that's the circumference of the circle. Circumference of the circle times by the height. So I'm going to multiply that by 2y, gives me 4 pi y squared. So plus 4 pi y squared in total gives us 6 pi y squared. So that's the total surface area of A. That's the total surface area of B. 4 pi x squared should be equal to 6 pi y squared. Divide both sides by 4 pi and we get x squared equals 3 over 2 y squared, and that's it. So I'm dividing by 4 pi. Okay, next one. I'm asked to work out which cylinder has the greater height. Now we've already worked this out. We know x squared equals 3 over 2 y squared. That means x equals the square root of 3 over 2 y. So x equals 3 over 2 y. Let's check. If 3 over 2 y, how does that compare to 2y? So instead of x, this is root 3 over 2y. So which one is a bigger height? Is root 3 over 2y, is it greater than or less than 2y? Well, quite clearly, root 3 over 2 is less than 2. Therefore, cylinder B is bigger. If we just check on our calculator what root 3 over 2 is, root 3 over 2 is in fact 1.22. So, and 1.22 is certainly less than 2, so that means cylinder B is bigger. Question 14. So we're given a sketch of a curve and we're asked to work out B, C and D. Right, this one is not too shabby either. We can see where the curve crosses the x-axis. That tells us the solutions of the cubic would be x equals minus 1. So a solution would be x equals minus 1. Another solution would be x equals 2, and another one would be x equals 5. So they're the three solutions of the cubic. Now, if x minus 1 is a solution, that means x plus 1 is a factor. And if x equals 2 is a solution, x minus 2 is a factor, and the third factor will be x minus 5. So I've got the three factors. If I multiply these all together, x plus 1 times by x minus 2 times by x minus 5, I'm going to work on these two to start and then multiply that in a second. So x times x, x squared, x times negative 2, negative 2x, 1 times x is x, and 1 times negative 2, negative 2. That has to be multiplied by x minus 5. Let's tidy this up now. So we get x squared minus x minus 2, and I'm going to multiply that by x minus 5. So x squared times x is x cubed, x squared times negative 5 minus 5x squared, minus x times x gives me minus x squared, minus x times minus 5 gives me plus 5x, minus 2 times x gives me minus 2x, minus 2 times minus 5 gives me plus 10. Now, if you're not sure whether you've multiply them out correctly, quick check is we can see here we've got three terms, 1, 2, 3 terms, and we've got two terms here. 3 times 2 is 6, so we should have 6 terms. Let's check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're good to go. Now all we got to do is tidy up. That's the only x cubed term. Minus 5x squared. Take away another x squared gives us minus 6x squared. 5x, take away 2x is 3x. And then finally we have the 10 at the end. So b equals minus 6, c equals 3, and d equals 10. Question 15. Asked to work out a and b such that this gives us this. So what we're going to use here is completing the square. First and foremost, I'm going to open a bracket with x in it and something squared, and all I do is half this term here, so that's negative 3. But what will that actually give me? Let's expand this out now. So when I expand x minus 3 out, we get x squared minus 6x plus 9. Now if you have a look here, we've got plus 9, but I want plus 5. So instead of having x minus 3 squared, I'm going to have to take away another 4 to get that 5 that I want. That it gives me 9 when I just expand it out like that, but I want 5, so I'm going to take away 4. And there's your solutions. A equals negative 3 and B equals negative 4. Okay, changing the subject of a formula. So I want to make P the subject of the formula. First of all, I'm going to take P, everything with P over to this side, over to the left. So we get P minus 1 to be squared plus M equals 12. Take M off both sides. P minus 1 to be squared equals 12. Take away M. Take the square root. P minus 1 equals plus or minus the square root of 12 minus M. Therefore P is equal to 1 plus or minus the square root of 12 minus M. Okay, question 16. We're told that PQ is the same as QP for these two matrices, and we're asked to work out A and B. So if I take matrix P, 2, 3, A, B, and multiply that by matrix Q, 1, 1, 0, 1, let's see what we get. 2 times 1 is 2, plus 3 times 0, which is 0, so we get 2. 2 times 1 is 2, 3 times 1 is 3, 2 plus 3 is 5. A times 1 is 1, B times 0 is 0, so we just get A here. A times 1 is 1, B times 1 is 1, so we get A plus B. Now let's do the other side. Let's do P times Q. So I'm going to do Q times P. So 1, 1, 0, 1 times by 2, 3, A, B. 1 times 2 is 2, 1 times A is A. So we get 2 plus A. 1 times 3 is 3, 1 times B is B, so we get 3 plus B. 0 times 2 is 0, 1 times A is A. 0 times 3 is 0, 1 times B is B. Okay, so corresponding corresponding elements of these two matrices are the same. So the 2 must be equal to 2 plus A. So 2 equals 2 plus A. That implies that A is equal to 0. And also 5 is equal to 3 plus B. So I can say 5 equals 3 plus B. That means B is equal to 2. So A is 0 and B is 2. Okay, we've got the population of Japan given in standard form and the same for Brazil here. We're told that J to B is the same as x to x plus 5, and we're asked to work out x. So this is a kind of a tricky one to get your head around. I don't like having this standard form business when I'm trying to solve this problem. So if I divide Japan's population by Brazil's population, well, that's just the same as doing x over x plus 5. So first and foremost, I can divide top and bottom by 10 to the power of 8. So effectively getting rid of these. So I now know that 1.3 over 1.95 is equal to x over x plus 5. I'm going to cross multiply. So I get 1.3 times by x plus 5 is got to be equal to 1.95x. Expand this out. 1.3 plus, now 5 times, sorry, 1.3x, that should be. 1.3 times by 5 gives us 6.5 equals 1.95x. Let's bring all the x's to one side. So we get, let me see, let's do 6.5 is going to be equal to, well, 1.95x take away 1.3x is 0.65x. Now divide both sides by 0.65. Dividing both sides by 0.65, just in case you're unsure. 6.5 divided by 0.65 is 10. So x is 10. Okay, now we're told that we need to work out the population of Pakistan such that, well, the population of Japan, which was 1.3 by 10 to the 8, let's just write that down. 1.3 by 10 to the power of 8. And Pakistan we're trying to work out. So right, so if we think about the ratio that we were given here originally, that was 10 and that was, well, that'll be 14 now, won't it? So it's telling me that if Japan's population is represented by 10 parts, I need to work out what 14 parts is to get Pakistan's population. So I'm going to do 1.3 by 10 to the power of 8. 1.3 by 10 to the power of 8, and I'm going to divide that by 10 to get one part. So we get one part equals 1.3 by 10 to the power of 7. That means 14 parts. So timesing that by 14, multiply that by 14, we get 1.82 by 10 to the power of 8. Oh, I seem to have the same question twice. Let's keep going. Expand and simplify. So expanding this out, we get 2s squared minus 2s plus s minus 1. So we get 2s squared minus s minus 1. That's your 2 marks there. And it says hence or otherwise solve this between here. Now if you look at this, we see 2s squared, 2 sine squared, minus s minus sine minus 1. It's actually already been done for us, so we don't need to worry about factorizing this quadratic. It's been factorized for us already. So I can say that 2 sine theta plus 1 is equal to 0, and sine theta equals 1. So 2 sine theta equals minus 1. So sine theta equals minus 1 over 2. That means theta equals, let's take the inverse sine of minus a half gives us minus 30. And let's take the inverse sine of 1. In case you don't know, inverse sine of 1 is 90. Now, I need solutions between 0 and 360. So first off, that's no good to me. Again, you need to know your sine. You need to know your sine graph in order to work this out. So let's put sine back up there again. Y equals sine x. Alright, now when sine was, or when theta was negative 30, we had a solution. So when it was negative 30, which is around about here, we had a solution. Now using the symmetry of the graph, that means I will also get a solution that gives me the same answer here. So in order to get a solution, I'm going to add 30 on to 180. Yeah, that's 30 back, so this will be 30 forward. So 180 plus 30 is 210. That's one of my solutions. We also had a solution at 90. So if we take a look at our graph, have I got any other solutions other than 90? No. So our two solutions are going to be 210 and 90. Let's double check that one more time. Oh, I missed one. Just as well I checked again. If you think about it, we also have another solution right here using the symmetry of the graph. So if I take 30 degrees back from 360, I'll get another solution. So 330 is our third solution. And the 3 marks led me to believe there was more than 2 solutions. Let's keep going. Okay, I'm given this diagram here. We've got a circle, we've got a tangent, and we've got a radius here, and I'm asked to work out the gradient of PC, which is this one here. And now if this is a tangent, and that's the equation of the tangent, and this is a radius touching that tangent, that means this line is perpendicular. So that's a right angle. Now two lines that are perpendicular, that means the gradients are related. So the gradient of PC is going to be not negative 2. I'm going to flip it upside down and change the sign. In other words, the two gradients when multiplied together should give us -1. So the gradient of PC is a half. Next we're asked to work out the equation of the circle. In order to get the equation of the circle, I need to know the center of the circle. Once I know the center and the radius, we can work out the equation of the circle. Okay, I'd like to work out first of all the equation of this line here. I know the gradient of the line. The gradient is -1/2, and I know the y-intercept. Oh, I don't know the y-intercept, so I'm going to work out the equation of the line using the fact that this point is on the line. So y minus y1 equals the gradient times x minus x1 will give me the equation of this line. So y minus, that'll be y1, so y minus 5 equals 1/2 times x minus 4. So that's x1. We get y minus 5 equals 1/2 x minus 2. So y equals 1/2 x, adding 5 to both sides, plus 3. So the equation of this line here is y equals 1/2 x plus 3. Now that means I now know the y-intercept is 3. So that means the center of the circle is 0, 3. So I know the center. Can I work out the radius? And can I work it out quite quickly? Well, let's have a think about this for a second. The distance from here to here is going to have to be 4 units, because that's 0, and directly down below here that's 4, so this is 4 units. How high is the is the is this little triangle? I'd like to know how high it is. Well, it's 3 here and then 5 here, so that's 2. So let's work out now the length of the radius. So the length of the radius is going to be given by doing 4 squared using Pythagoras. So if let me sketch the triangle over here. So we've got a triangle, so that was C, this is P up here, and this point, let's just call it T. We have this right angle triangle here, and we've deduced that that's 4 and that's 2. So I'm going to work at the hypotenuse. Let's call it little r for radius. So radius squared equals 4 squared plus 2 squared. So radius squared equals 4 squared is 16 plus 2 squared, which is 4, so it gives us 20. That means the radius equals the square root of 20. So now we need to write down the equation of the circle, and I'll write it up here in case you don't know the formula. The equation of a circle. The equation of a circle C is given as x minus h squared. Let's not quite right. X minus h to be squared plus y minus k to be squared equals the radius squared. So that's when the center is hk. The center is hk. So now substituting the values that we have into our formula, let's do it here. We get x, h in this case is 0, x minus 0 to be squared plus y minus k to be squared, which is 3, y minus k to be squared equals the radius squared. Well, that's the radius, so equals 20. Factorize fully this expression here. Now, before I can factorize it, I need to find a factor. So what I'm going to do is use the factor theorem. The factor theorem states that if f of k is equal to 0, that means x minus k is a factor. Now, just to give you an idea of what that means, it means if I choose a value for k, put it in here, and I get 0, that means x take away that value is a factor. So let's try x equal to 1. So we get 1 cubed is 1 plus 4 times 1 squared, which is 4. Take away 25, take away 28. That doesn't work. That doesn't give me an answer 0. Let's try x equal to minus 1. Minus 1 cubed is minus 1 plus 4 plus 25, take away 28. Minus 1 plus 4 is plus 3, and 25 is 28. 28 take away 28 is 0, so that works. So x equals minus 1 works. That means x plus 1 is a factor. Okay, so lots of different ways you can work out the other two factors. I'm going to use algebraic division. So x cubed plus 4x squared minus 25x minus 28, and I'm going to divide that by x plus 1. So if you've seen me do this before in other videos, you might remember me saying that when we're doing the division, only worry about the first part of your expression. Don't worry about the one, that will sort itself out as we go. So I'm going to do x cubed divided by x. That gives me x squared. Now I take this term and multiply by all of this. X squared times x is x cubed. X squared times 1 is x squared. Now I subtract. So x cubed, take away x cubed is 0. 4x squared, take away x squared is 3x squared. And then I bring down the next term. So let's take down minus 25x. If you're familiar with long division, it's a little bit similar to that. So now I say 3x squared divided by x gives me plus 3x. Multiplying it out now, 3x squared times x is 3x squared. 3x times 1 gives me plus 3x. I'm doing the same thing again. I'm going to subtract this line from this line. Let me do that in green. So I was subtracting all of this, and I'm going to subtract all of this. 3x take away 3x is 0. 25 minus 25 take away another 3x is minus 28x. Finally bring down the minus 28. Minus 28x divided by x gives me minus 28. And multiplying it, we get minus 28x minus 28. And when you subtract them, you get 0. Nearly there now. We have this expression here, which is a quadratic, so x squared plus 3x minus 28. And if we factorize this, so factors of minus 28, that add to give me minus 3. I'm thinking plus 7 and minus 4. So our factors are x plus 1, x plus 7, and x minus 4. And that's it. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hopefully you found it useful. That's all from me, and I'll talk to you again sometime. Good luck.